So the Rockets finally got a road win. In this video, I'm going to talk about why that's a big deal. It's a huge deal, actually. Also, our young guys are evolving right before our eyes. I'm going to talk about what I'm seeing from some of the young bucks on the Rockets. Tap in right now. Enjoy. The Rockets Chop Shop is your one-stop shop for all your basketball needs, for highlights, analysis, podcasts. We do it all here at the Rockets Chop Shop. Make sure you hit the like button on the videos that you watch if you enjoy them. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications from all the great drops that we have on the channel. Also, you can visit the Chop Shop merch store and get you some of the swaggiest gear in the Houston Rockets kingdom. And if you want, you can always support the channel directly through donations. And if you want, you can support us through our partnerships with our sponsors. The Rockets Chop Shop is made by fans, for fans, and we're gonna keep rocking and keep dropping that heat.
This is something I know.
So the Rockets finally got a win on the road. Oh my God, it happened, guys. It happened. A win on the road, and not only a win, but they got a win against one of the best home teams in the past 2 or 3 seasons, right? There was some stat that somebody had read out. I don't know. I saw it on Twitter, and also the Nuggets broadcaster brought it up that when Jamal Murray, KCP, Jokic, and Aaron Gordon have played in a game all together, they were undefeated in like the last 2 years. And your Houston Rockets, who were defeated in road games, came into Denver and beat them on the road. And man, it was a game that it went from, yeah, we got this, to I almost had a heart attack, like real talk. Like that was a stressful game. It did not have to be like that. Coach Udoka had a moment there in the end where he let Jokic play against our bench players. And to me, that was kind of dumb. Otherwise, he pitched a perfect game. And we can go through the game. You guys have probably heard all the stats from the players. Our backcourt combined for 51 points. Alp dropped an efficient 17 with some assists, some rebounds. Jabari had another 10 rebound game. All of that is great, but you guys know I have to look under the surface stats. So in this podcast and video, I wanted to dig in a little deeper to show you guys the progression that I'm seeing in our young players as their evolution is happening this season, as to why I think that not only beating Denver on the road is a big deal, but also foreshadowing of things that are to come for this team. And they're just scratching the surface, right? I was getting a little grief, getting a little nervous. I was telling y'all, like, this is the worst they're going to be. I tell you guys that after mainly every game. There's some games where we get blown out, but I really, once again, I don't look at stats and like efficiency in a way that a lot of people look at it. I try to look at things that are scalable, right? Scalability to me is the most important factor, especially when you're trying to judge young players. Is what they're doing scalable, and is it scalable for them in the context of their games and what they do well? And what I'm seeing from Jabari Smith Jr., from Alperen Sengun, and Jalen Green are things that are scalable despite all the noise going on around them, bad shooting games, bad matchups. They might drop, a couple games here where they drop a couple stinkers. Otherwise, some of the recent progressions over the past 10 to 15 games for some of these guys are really things we should be excited about. So I'm going to dig into that. Specifically, I'm going to focus on Jabari, Jalen, and Sengun, because I feel like for the Nuggets win, they all contributed just a little bit here and there, some more than others, but I think what we're seeing are things that are important and things that I've spoken on in the past. So we're going to get into some of the stats that I'm seeing from these guys and their play styles, and what I'm seeing from them individually, and how it's helping the team overall. Let's go. The first player I'm going to talk about is Jalen Green. He did not have his best game, but as far as on my scalability factor, that's one of the best games that he had. And the reason I'm saying that is in the way that Jalen impacted the game. He wasn't efficient from three, took some dumb shots. He had a couple of defensive mishaps here and there, but that's typical for a young player. But what is the thing that, if you've watched this channel, this goes back 2 years now. What do I say about Jalen Green? What do I want him to do? Drive, because to me, when he's attacking the basket, that's a sign of aggression. You can mitigate all the shooting issues, all the decision-making issues when you just get your head down and get to the basket, because good things happen when he does that, right? When he's driving to the basket, he gets fouled. Remember, when I was doing his third-year leap video, what did I say? Jalen Green was the most fouled player driving to the basket in the NBA last year. So what my ask for Jalen was, drive some more, bro. Like, stop, settling for bad shots. Stop being passive and passing the ball out to players that are not known for offense. You need to be able to drive. One thing I figured and kind of helped me change my approach towards Jalen this season is that I think that what we were expecting from him was too much, and he's not there yet. And that's, once again, I always say this, that's perfectly fine. If he's not where he's supposed to be on his developmental curve, that's perfectly okay with me. That just means that his responsibility and role on the team must then change, right? What we saw from the previous coaching regime is that regardless of what players were at developmentally, they would give them the opportunity of a star player, right? Go get 50 points off of 30 shots. Just go out there and play out your game in real time and figure it out, right? We can't do that on a team that's trying to win. Those are contradictory things, right? So if Jalen is going to struggle in different aspects of his game, like his decision making, his ball handling, his ability to read the defense in real time, then you need to take some of those responsibilities off his hand and give it to people who can, like Fred VanVleet, like Alperen Sengun. But while doing that, you also want to be able to allow him to thrive in the things he does well and dabble in those things you want him to improve upon, right? We're not going to spam weaknesses anymore. That's losing. That's loser stuff, right? Spamming weaknesses for players is how you lose games. So with the intelligent coaching staff that we have this season, they are finding the middle ground for a lot of our young guys, and it's paying dividends. So what we're looking at right now, this is Jalen Green versus Denver, the play types. This game that we just had, he had 8 pick and rolls, 1 dribble handoff, 5 spot up opportunities, 2 transitions, and 2 opportunities, 2 possessions in isolation. 37% in the pick and rolls. He's hit or miss in pick and rolls right now. It's really going to be based on how he reads the defense, whether he's going to snake over to take a tough shot. Is he going to attack and try to, go into 3 defenders, or is he going to pass it? To me, that efficiency in the pick and roll is going to keep improving as he learns to pass. The dribble handoffs, he had 1 opportunity. He missed the shot. I think it was a 3. 5 spot ups, shot 51% on those spot ups. That's great, right? And in this game, Jalen played like a third best player on the team as far as his role, because where he made his buckets from were on assists from guys that were collapsing the paint, whether it was Alpi or Jabari or Fred, or he was making them in transition on kick-aheads where he was using his speed to beat the defense down the court. And the times he did actually go into isolation was against mismatches. That's all you could ask for him. So for his shot profile for this game to look like this, where it's not 15 pick and rolls and 8 isolations and this and that, where it's more balanced, I think this is something scalable for him going forward. So just to drill down on his actual driving from this game, against the Denver Nuggets, he had 13 drives, right? 13 drives. That's 4 more than his season average of 9. So just those 4 more drives to me are just so effective. And a lot of them came in the second half of the game. His field goal percentage on drives, 50%, which is higher than his 46.2% on the season. He got to the line 4 times when he drove the ball, which is 2 more than he actually. So these are real points. I know you're like 4 more drives, 4 more possessions of him not turning the ball over or taking a bad shot, right? 4 more possessions of him initiating the action, right? 4 more possessions of him forcing the issue on the defense, getting a player in foul trouble. This is what this means. This is why it's important. So I really love the game that he had on the offensive side. On defense, he was playing pretty good defense. The effort was there. This is what I expect from him now. I've kind of recalibrated my expectations. I don't expect Jalen to be this 25 point per game scorer that's out there just efficiently dropping buckets and playmaking. That's going to come. Hopefully that's going to come along the way. Right now, can you just hit the shots that you're when you get kickouts from players, hit your open threes. When you get a mismatch, attack it. If you're running the pick and roll and you see Nikola Jokic, attack, right? Get downhill on a team that has bad defenders like Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic that can't guard the rim. So is he doing that? That's what I want to see. Points percentage from drive. So his points in this game, 53% of his points came from drives. And that's actually lower than his season average, 66%. So overall, he's actually been scoring mostly from driving the basket, right? That's damn near 2/3 of his points this season come from drives. I need him to drive more. 9 is good, right? 9 is good, but that's not enough for me. Get up to the 15s and 16s and 17s like SGA. I know his body isn't up to par yet for him to do that, but that's where you start. Like I said, scalability. Put on 5-10 more pounds over a year or two. Does that help your driving? Can you get up to the 15s? Then you start creeping up into the 20 plus, 25 points per game, where look at the percentage, like I said, 50%. That helps his field goal percentage overall instead of just jacking up threes like he went 2 for 9 on threes on this game. I don't want Jalen to be a heat check guy. I really don't. I don't think Ime Udoka wants that either. So he needs to keep driving. And here's, to me, the most exciting part about this game that I saw. He's been kicking out the ball, and this is progression. He also did it against Oklahoma City. His pass percentage on his drives against Denver was 46.2%. And his season average is 28.2, which is actually much better than last year, where he was in the teens, I think, or like low 20s. 28 is not great. Most of the ball handlers that get a lot of reps on ball are going to be in the 30s, right? 46.2 is hella aggressive, but hey, I love it. If they're going to pack the paint, make them pay for it and generate those hockey assists. So for him, to me, I love this game, right? I love this game. He didn't hurt us too much. And when he was on the court, especially that there was a run in the third quarter, he initiated the action. If you can get this Jalen Green on a night-to-night basis, you're going to win more road games. The next player I want to talk about is Jabari Smith Jr. Like, ever since his benching, I think he was benched, ironically, against the Nuggets on November 12th, which was, feels like yesterday. He has been a monster on the boards, especially in the past, 4 or 5 games. And to me, this is so important for Jabari's development because, to me, his powers, as I use the term superpowers, on defense is going to be his versatility. And the defense is coming along very well. He still has issues at times, but the awareness is much better. He's more fluid. And he's able to use his size. He's not playing small like he used to last season. He's playing to his size and using his size to shock ball handlers and to show them that, hey, bro, like, I'm here. You're going to have to get around this, right? Instead of kind of shrinking back and giving them all that space. So that's one. But the rebounding part, to me, just like with Jalen, with Jabari, defense, the aggression, I want to see that on the boards, right? Because if he's attacking the glass and he's doing it intentionally, if you watch how he's crashing the glass in these games, he's coming off his assignment early, almost like Tari does. He's anticipating those misses. He's boxing out. He's being physical. There was a play where he had multiple efforts against Denver where he ended up saving the ball from going out of bounds and getting us an extra possession. Rebounds are part of defense. Are part of defense. And if Jabari is able to be an elite rebounder at this young of an age, scale up to when he's 20, 30 pounds heavier, when he's that much more stronger, when he's that much more experienced in the NBA. Before he was benched, he was averaging 7 rebounds per game. Now, the reason to me this was bad for him to have 7 rebounds is because if you look at the Rockets starting 5, which he's part of, and he plays the majority of his snaps like football, right? His possessions on. Who's out there rebounding besides Şengün, right? We have Dylan Brooks, who is not a great rebounder. Fred VanVleet is not a great rebounder. Jalen Green has gotten better, but he's not a great rebounder. So between him and Al P, they should both be averaging double-digit rebounds, right? And especially if you're going to have a lot of the guys boxing out for you. So for him to have 7 in those first 9 games, to me, showed a lack of aggression on that side of the ball, right? A kind of aloofness that he would have sometimes where he would get lost in his assignment. He would be flat-footed a lot. That's changed over the last 10 games. So after, before he's benching 7 rebounds, his rebound percentage, which is the percent of the time he actually rebounded the ball when he was on the court compared to all the other players out there in the possessions, 11.8, which, it's not the worst, but it's not, to me, on our team, that's not great. Offensive rebound percentage, 5.5%. Defensive rebound, 17.8%. So he was actually less than 1/5 of the rebound percentage for the Rockets. Meaning that if you fractioned out each player of the starting 5 or the 5 when he was out there, he's not even meeting his quota of 20%, which is bad, right? After being benched, and the 10 games after that, his rebounds went from 7 to 9.8. damn near 10 rebounds a game, which is a big jump in rebounds. That's 3 extra possessions that he's getting our team. Rebound percentage went up to 15.2%, right? That's overall. And his offensive rebound percentage is 6.1%. The defensive rebound, this is what you like, 23.6. So he's actually making up for the lack of rebounding for other teammates. For your front court, that's what you want to see. Your big men should never be less than 20% rebound percentage on the defensive boards. They should be eating into the mid 20s. And if you got an elite rebounder, they're at the 30%, because your guards are not going to have the same opportunities and abilities to rebound. So if you have a big man that's 20%, another big man that's 20%, and 3 wings or guards that are 20%, that's not good, bro. Unless you just have elite rebounding guards and wings, which we don't. So we know that's not true. So as this number continues to creep up, that tells me Jabari's being aggressive. To me, this is an exciting development, because when you pair rebounding, his defensive versatility, the shot making from the mid range, the release point, that's where you start seeing the structure of what Jabari Smith could be. A guy that could probably get you 17 to 20 points, 10 to 12 rebounds on any given night on good efficiency while playing good defense. That sounds like a key piece of a contender to me, right? He may never be like a superstar, LeBron, Jason Tatum type of player, but a guy that can get you 20 and 12 on good efficiency and play defense, that's an important piece of a dynasty, man. So he just needs to keep developing, and I love the way Coach Udoka has been just pushing the right buttons with all of our guys. All of our guys, man. This is what you want to see develop. This is how you want players to develop, in things that are realistic. It's not nothing sexy. I know people don't like rebounds like that. Like you're doing a whole 10-minute monologue on rebounds, but for Jabari Smith Jr., that is a huge development. Last but not least, let's talk about Alperen Sengun and the Rockets defense. And the reason they're intertwined, because our center is holding down the 4th best defense in the NBA as we speak. So we are about the 1/4 mark for this NBA season. And at this point, to me, the data is real, right? The data gets real, and the Rockets defense is real. The Rockets right now are ranked 4th in overall defense in the NBA, ranked 3rd in guarding jump shots. And here's the most exciting part, right? This is where I didn't see the leap from our team, and especially Alp from. We're ranked 4th in guarding the rim. 4th in guarding the rim. Look at these synergy shot type profile for the Houston Rockets and their defensive profile. Look at this. All field goals. We are excellent in guarding all field goals, right? Holding teams to 44% on all field goals, 2s, 3s, rim attacks, everything. That is elite. Jump shots. So these are all jump shots, middies, 3s, holding teams to 35% on jump shots. And at the rim, these are layups, dunks, 57% at the rim, which ranks 4th in the NBA with a quote unquote liability at center. Now, I wanted to look at what Alp was doing with these matchups against other bigs. And as we saw last night, Nikola Jokic was held to 34% against the Rockets. And, you know, even though he's had great statistical games against the Rockets just have a way of neutralizing what Denver does, minus the game where we play them back to back, which never counted to me, right? That game was a scheduled loss. We were coming off a tough game against Dallas, played them in Denver in altitude off of, I don't know how many hours of rest, having to fly out there. I've played football in Denver. It is no joke. The altitude is real. The thin air is real. And for them to go out there and lose, I was like, you know, you don't take too much from that game. But to go 3-1 against Denver, it has to be shutting down Nikola Jokic. And over, coach has laid out the game plan for that. You leave Alp on the island and you shut off everybody else's water. And on an island he's been. And just so this made me want to look at how Alperen has been doing against his matchups. So these are his top 10 matchups, top 9. Okay. The last one there, Christian Wood, I just threw in there for fun because, it's a 0. But his top 9 matchups at center this season, right? Number 1 is Nikola Jokic. They've played the most minutes against each other. He's holding Jokic to 42% from the field compared to Jokic's 53.5% on the season. So that is damn near a 10% discrepancy in that. Against Anthony Davis, holding him below his season average, 52% compared to his 53.3. Against Domantas Sabonis, who, in low volume, I think he only was taking like 6 shots against Alp, 60% to his 57.5, which is, around his average, a little bit higher, against Zach Collins, who is not a world beater at the center position, holding him to 42% versus his 48%. He struggles against Valanciunas, right? Valanciunas is a bigger bruiser, and I think that's still an issue for Alp, is the guys that are big and strong. He's gotten much better in those matchups, but 62% for Valanciunas compared to his 55 on the season. Triple J, perimeter-oriented player, 28% against Alp compared to his 43%. Triple J is struggling this season, guys. Wembanyama is shooting 43% from the field. That's crazy to me. That is crazy. As a guy his size, shouldn't be that low, bro. That's too many damn jump shots. He really needs to play his position. But 42.9, which is just a tick below his average when Alp is guarding Wembanyama. Zubac, another big bruiser that plays in the pick and roll with a guard, 83%, which is really high versus his 62% average. Kevon Looney, 40% versus his 57%. And Christian Wood is 0 for whatever against Alperen Sengun this season. 0 for. Hasn't made a bucket yet. And he's a 44% field goal percentage this season. 0 against Alperen Sengun. This is how you have a number 4 defense. This is how you rank 4th in guarding the rim when you're protecting your team against big men. And for the large part of these matchups, 7 of them are he's beating them on the defensive side, right? 7 of them, he is outplaying them. And most of these, as you see them in the red with the 28% for Jaren Jackson and Wemby and Jokic, Alp is dropping buckets on their head, right? To the tune of 20-some points on 60% true shooting. This is why, you really have to be excited about what we're seeing from our young guys, because he's doing this on a night in, night out basis. There's nothing flukish about this. A lot of times he is on an island. Against Anthony Davis, on an island. Against Jokic, on an island. Against Sabonis, on an island. Like, he is on an island against all these players at 21 years old. That is special. And for, there's some people that have this kind of fetish about certain types of centers. I'm going to list out. Here's a list of players that Alp's defended field goal percentage is better than. And defended field goal percentage is an aggregate of all the defensive field goal percentage of all the matchups. So whether he's matched up against a center, Steph Curry, Dame, whoever he's played this season, good, bad, and indifferent, Alperen Sengun right now is holding players to 46.1%, which is about 5% lower than his last year's field goal percentage, opponent field goal percentage. So Alp's is 46.1. Centers he's better than right now. Ironically, the one right next after him is Brook Lopez, the guy that was supposed to take his spot, 47%. Nikola Jokic, he's better at Nikola is at 47.7%. Jared Allen, right? The archetype for everything anti-Jokic, Sengun, Sabonis, 47.8%. Jaren Jackson Jr., former Defensive Player of the Year, 48%. Miles Turner, another archetype, 49.2%. Mitchell Robinson, another archetype, 49.4%. Daniel Gafford, potential backup for the Rockets, if I had something to say about it, 50%. Clint Capella, potential backup. I really don't like the fit, but 52.8%. And Mark Williams, who we saw in real time get obliterated by Alperen Sengun, I call him Alp's son, 53.9%. So what does this all mean, right? What does this all mean? In the grand scheme of things, the Rockets are 10-9. They're above 500 after going through one of the tougher schedules in the NBA. I mean, how many damn times do we have to play the Nuggets, right? How many contenders do we have to go play? How many back-to-backs against, all-world players? You go from Luka to Jokic. You're going from LeBron to Steph to James Harden and company over on the Clippers. And these dudes are just gutting it out every game, fighting, close games, gutting it out, learning close games, losing on the road till they crack that door open now and beat one of the best home teams at their own house. This is growth, and this is going to be special, because what have I told you guys all year is that give this thing till about January, right? Where everything comes together and meshes. They're going to go on a run that's going to surprise everybody. If these guys keep playing like this, and I think there's a strong chance they do, there is no way in hell they're not going to finish this season without being above 500. Because as I was told, I've seen it on Twitter, they have the third easiest schedule going on for the rest of the season. There's going to be a lot of games where we're just going to beat teams just by being functional, right? Just by having a smart coach with smart players, just by having mismatches like we did against OKC, where they don't have an Anthony Davis on their team. They don't have a Jokic to score 40-point triple-double on their team. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit in the NBA. You know, you could lose on any night, but most of the time, teams just aren't ready to play the level of defense the Rockets are. This is what's exciting. Jalen Green didn't shoot that well, right? 2 for 9 from 3. Didn't really have an efficient game, but what he did helped us win. Jabari Smith hasn't been having his best offensive stretch over the past few games, but damn, he's on the boards. That's giving us extra possessions to get more shots for those players that are doing well, like Dillon Brooks, like Fred, like Alperen. Alperen Sengun, night in, night out. I know a lot of people are waiting for the wheels to fall off, but this is who he is, right? He is an above average defender and an excellent offensive player. That's why I think this year this kid's going to be an all-star. When you have that, when the others, Jalen, Jabari, catch up and join the party, this thing is on, bro. It's on. Like, man, we've been with y'all, me and Space. We've been talking Rockets for the past, probably 1.5 years, 2 years now on this channel. For me, I've been talking, on a public level in Spaces damn near for 3 years now on the Twitter Spaces with my bro Mike. We've the message has stayed consistent and the same from the beginning, right? You have to give these young guys time to grow. You have to show scalability. And when you look at things that they could do now, but then you add on context of weight gain, experience, that's how you know you have good players, right? That's how you know you have good players. So when I'm making a video trying to walk the fan base through why Jabari Smith wasn't a bad pick, it's because of scalability, right? At baseline, I know this guy can play on any team. He can shoot, and he's tall, and he can, play defense. That's an NBA baseline player, right? Baseline starter at some point. But if you look at him, he's not dribbling well, or he's skinny. Those are things that get better over time. You were seeing Jabari attack closeouts and different things like that. Same thing for Jalen. Jalen right now is struggling with his size, and he's just not that great. His bag isn't there. He can add a bag. He's going to get bigger. You know what I mean? I'm not putting him on that Kobe level anymore, or that D Wade level of guard. But I mean, Levine is still there. Maybe Booker. You hope Booker. You cross your finger, Booker. But the outcomes are still there. And for Sengun, I've told y'all before from day one, when I made one of the first videos that went not viral, but that we made on this channel that really went off was the Sengun. I call him Baby Pau Gasol. And the reason I saw that was because of the skill set. There's not a lot of men that have played in the NBA that have the combination of size, skill, and athleticism that he has, right? And what I mean, his skill in passing, his skill in shot making, his strength, this is different. And the athleticism comes in on the defensive end. Yes, he gets beat like every other player. I was watching the play-in game or the in-season tournament and watched Miles Turner get dogged on by defensive players. The reason Miles Turner is a good defender is not because he can stay in front of players. He's terrible on ball defense. Is that his elite athleticism allows him to recover, and he has the leaping ability to recover off his mistakes. Alp doesn't have that, but what he does have, the ability to stay in front of players most of the time, not all the time. So you mix all three of that with the vets that we got, and I just was just digging through the stats, found out that Fred VanVleet is like has the sixth or fourth best defensive rating in the NBA right now for like starting players, right? You're looking at, you go further down the line, you see Alperen's name, you see Dillon Brooks' name. Our team is real. We have the right type of vets. They're scrappy. They're going to play you hard. They're going to contest hard. They're going to make you work for it. Every game is a playoff feel. They might have some bumps and bruises along the way, but when this thing settles out, when they get their second breath after like the All-Star break, it's going to be on and popping. But y'all let me know, man, were y'all as excited as I was about this game, right? Us getting this win, to me, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Like, it's a huge deal because I think we've like busted that glass ceiling on what this team could be. If they start being an average team on the road and being elite on at home, what are we talking about, right? What are we talking about? Right now, the Rockets sit at 8 in the West, right? We're number 8 in the West. We've been in the playoff picture the whole season, damn near the whole season. So, hey, let's raise our expectations, man. The Rockets are legit. Keep rocking with us in the Chop Shop. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, you like this content, hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop. We're going to keep dropping that.